The agenda, like I said, we're going to hear from program faculty. They'll give sort of like an elevator pitch of each of their programs. Then you'll be able to dive in a little bit deeper with each of the faculty members in a breakout session. So you'll be in a breakout session for probably 20 to 30 minutes. With about 15 to 20 minutes, I'll have everybody come back into the main room, and I'll do a quick overview of admissions and how to finance your degree. And we'll have time for questions. So I hope that sounds good for everybody. And we'll jump in right away to TESOL multilingual learner education. And Dr. Altavia Giordano.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, people call me Professor AG because I have a very long name. So you can call me whatever. Jen, doesn't matter to me. But I direct the TESOL Multilingual Learner Education Program. I'm a lecturer of language education here at BU Wheelock. And this program was formerly called the TESOL Licensure Program. So what this program does is it leads to an initial Massachusetts English as a second language license that enables you to teach in kindergarten through 12th grade in public schools in the US. So typically people pursue this program if they're interested in staying in the United States for their career and working with kids, aged 4 all the way up through 18. So that's just sort of the general overview. And it's a 36 to 38 credit program. So I've outlined here sort of the general program of studies. I can answer any questions about specific classes in the breakout sessions, but it generally takes a full calendar year to complete the program. You can either start in the fall or you can start in the summer, depending on your schedule. It doesn't really matter to us. Everyone can still walk at graduation the following May. But typically people take 18 credits in the fall, they'll take 12 credits in the spring, and they'll take either 6 or 8 credits over the summer. So if you're doing the younger students, so pre-K to 6, it's only 36 credits. If you're doing the older students, grades 5 to 12, it's 38, because BU Wheelock requires all teacher candidates who work with adolescent students to take this adolescent development course, which is why there's that 2 credit difference. But as you can see, it's a pretty small program. It's really, we pride ourselves on being really individualized and really supporting our candidates to find the right student teaching placements. And I can pretty much guarantee you that you will get a job, because English as a second language teachers are in really high demand here in Massachusetts and across the United States. So I guess I'll stop there and let Kathy, Dr. Kim, talk about her program. But thanks to everyone who's here tonight.
Thanks, Dr. AG. Before we move on to Dr. Kim, somebody had a question, Ernestina had a question. Can international students do the licensure program? I think that's a really good question before we move on to Dr. Kim.
That's a great question. So the answer is a little complicated, and it's basically, it depends. But generally, if you are an international student, you have to have studied in the United States for some period of time, typically in high school or in college, because you need to have some amount of knowledge of what the K-12 public school system looks like in the United States in order to be successful in this program. And it's really for people that want to stay in the United States for their career to teach. This is a way to get more people who are ESL certified into schools in Massachusetts and in the US. So if you're one of those people that wants to go back to your home country and teach, the licensure program is not for you. If you are a person that wants to do curriculum development or something else related to TESOL, this is not for you. It's really for people that want to go and stay in the classroom in the US.
Thank you for that. Thanks for that clarification, and thanks for the question. All right, Dr. Kim.
Can everyone hear me well?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Jen, for that introduction. My name is Kathy Kim. You could call me Kathy. You could call me Dr. Kim. And I am the director of the TESOL Applied Linguistics program. And previously we were called the TESOL Non-Licensure program because this program actually supports students to be teaching students English and other languages to adults, adolescents, children in both public and private settings, but in outside of the K-12 settings in the US. So we teach students, students are taking courses that really equip them to be able to teach adults. Most of the students who are currently in our program are prepared to teach adults. That could be in the US settings, but also international. But there are also students who want to teach younger students in the private settings in the US or also international settings in a public school settings as well. So a lot of our students graduate to be teachers, but at the same time, we have a lot of students who want to pursue PhD. We also prepare students to be skilled researchers as well, because we do talk about research, we do talk about applied linguistics, research settings as well. So that is certainly something that the students, a lot of students currently are thinking about and they're learning in a lot of our classes. So the required coursework, it is 36 credits for all students. Students could complete the courses in one full academic year. So you could enroll in spring. You could also enroll in fall. We have both admission cycles. So students could take 4 classes, up to 4 classes. But some students do start take 3 classes at the beginning of the semester. But you could also take summer classes as well. We have different faculty members who would be advising you, giving you guidance on your timelines and what courses that you could take based on your needs and also your interests. So core courses, the 24 credits are the ones that are listed there, and I'll be happy to walk through all of these courses during the breakout sessions. We also require practicum for all international students and also domestic students, and we have a list of electives that students could select from, and I'll be happy to walk through all of these classes as well.
Thank you so much. So for those international students who want to teach on the ground in the US, again, should they go to your session, Dr. AG, just to kind of hear kind of their individual kind of questions? Should they get their individual questions answered, or should they go to Dr. Kim's?
I think it depends if you want to teach in public or private settings. That's a big deal. So the multilingual learner education program is only for people that want to teach in public schools in the United States. Dr. Kim's program is private schools, like language centers, private institutions or organizations outside of the public schools. So that's what I would say is if you're an international person and you want to teach in the US, that's how I would decide which session to go to. And then I can talk to individuals about their unique situations.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Do you agree, Kathy?
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, I would agree. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions that were in the chat. I'm going to open the breakout rooms so that you can go in there with the faculty and hear more about the courses and the programs and the program outcomes. So please choose a room that you would like to go into. And let me know if you need any help getting into a room. I can assign you into a room. So if you want to write in the chat which one. I think Ernestina, it sounds like you want to go to the licensure you're interested in finding out more about that. So I'm going to send you to that one. And you can always go back and forth as well. Calfisi, I'm going to send you to the licensure. How about Ibrahim Wallah and somebody who's, it just says Zoom user. Where would you like to go, to the licensure track or non-licensure track? And let me pause the recording. We won't keep you all for very much longer. I'm going to just do a really quick admissions overview for everybody now that everybody's back in case there's any questions that I can answer about the admissions process and about financing your degree. We can do that. And I think I did. Oh, we are recording. Good. Sometimes I forget to hit record. So just to go over the admissions process, we want to start with the deadline. So it seems like we have a lot of international students. Right now for spring, our deadline for international students has passed. If you're a domestic student who wants to maybe apply for spring and start this January, the deadline will be December 15th. So you have about a month if you're a domestic student for spring. International students for spring, it's too late at this point. You might want to start thinking about applying for fall anyways, because the fall priority deadline is coming up on January 15th. We do have rolling admissions for both of these programs, which means even after that priority deadline, the application will remain open until August. If you're an international student, I would not wait until August to apply to these programs. Our deadline for fall for international students is usually around June 1st. But I wouldn't wait very much longer. Even after you apply after the priority deadline, you will still be considered for scholarship. And that's for domestic students and for international students.
Angela, can I just
Go ahead,
pop
Jen.
in?
Yes.
So for the TESOL Multilingual Learner Education Licensure Program, it's there. We don't have a spring start, so it's only fall start only. So
thank you for bringing that up. That's right. Perfect. Oh, and I'm just checking the chat. Great. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about the deadlines. For application requirements, you'll submit your application online through a system called WebAdmit. We're looking for your resume. We're looking for a personal statement. And I always like to tell applicants, no matter what program you're applying to, really be specific as to why that school. So why BU, why BU Wheelock, and what you're going to do with this degree that you're applying to. Be really specific about that. What is this going to do for your career and your trajectory? We also require an equity and inclusion statement. So we are committed to equity, inclusion, and social justice at BU Wheelock. And we'd like you to comment on, social justice, equity, and inclusion. Talk about the principles and context of your professional aspirations. So write about, how your outlook and your experiences will contribute to furthering the work of equity and inclusion in our community. Let me know if you have any questions about that. We do require unofficial transcripts. If you have official transcripts, if you've had your bachelor's degree for quite a while and you can submit your official transcripts, I always recommend doing that. Once you matriculate, we're going to be asking for official transcripts anyways. So it's always helpful if you already have them ready to go to just send them on to us. We do also ask for 2 letters of recommendation. And we do require English proficiency. So for some of you, you might need to submit test scores that show your English proficiency. We do require test score reports for applicants whose first language is not English and who have not previously received a degree from an institution where the primary language of instruction was English. I'm just noticing up here as well for TESOL non-licensure, so the applied linguistics track, There is an additional application requirement. I don't have it up here, and that is my apologies. We do require that folks provide what's called a Kira Talent Assessment. So that's where you'll be asked a set of random questions. You'll have to speak. You'll have a finite period of time, like a minute or so, to provide a response in English. You're basically getting recorded, and the faculty will take a look at your responses to those questions. Let me know if you have any questions about any of that, or again, the English proficiency. I'm happy to go into those a little bit further if folks have questions about that. So financing your degree, we'll talk, tuition and costs. The full-time tuition and fees for this year is around $64,000. Don't let those costs scare you, though. That is with no scholarship, that's no aid, no types of assistance. But we'd like to kind of throw those numbers out there to you, just so you can take a look at it. For those, so for domestic students, I would say a really cost-effective way of doing our programs is doing them part-time and in the evening. So if you take courses after 3:30 p.m., the cost per credit is about $9.97. So let's say you're in a 36 credit program. I'm blanking on how much each of the TESOL programs is, but if you're a 36 credit program, you're doing it part-time, and in the evening, the program's basically about half the cost that you see there. So it's about $35,000. And again, that's with no scholarship. So for you domestic students who are thinking about doing the program, it's really beneficial to potentially do this program part-time and in the evening if it's possible for you. International students, unfortunately, cannot do the program part-time. Maybe in your last semester of the program, but not in your first full year of the program. Looking at different types of assistance, we do provide scholarships, and that's both to domestic and international students. Over the last year, we gave about $10 million across all of our programs. So over the last 2 years, about 60% of applicants were offered a scholarship. So you will, if you do get a scholarship, you will retain the scholarship. However long it takes you, you will retain the scholarship. So if the program is a 1.5-year program, you will still retain the scholarship into that second year of the program, essentially. Our scholarships are mostly percentage based. So typically we give anywhere from 33% to 75% scholarships. We typically do not fully fund students at the master's degree level. Fully funded programs happen at the PhD level. So just wanted to throw that out there to this group. So we, like I said, it's usually percentage based, and it's you'll get that percentage off of billed tuition. So it's good for both part-time and for full-time students. No application is needed to be considered for scholarship. So the faculty will take a holistic review and then basically say, okay, based on, it's basically a merit-based scholarship. So you will be notified at the point of admission as well about regarding your scholarship, if you've received one or not. One thing I like to mention too, it may not be necessarily applicable to this group, but we do have a lot of partnerships with different partner organizations, both locally and nationally. Boston Public Schools is a big partner of ours. Teach for America is also a big partner of ours. So if you're part of any of our partner organizations, you will receive a guaranteed scholarship of at least 33% off of that part-time evening tuition course rate that I had talked about. I'm happy to send out a list of the partners if anybody in this group is interested and want to take a look at the different employers that might be on the list. If you're a domestic student, you also have access to student loans. So there's 2 different types of student loans, private and federal loans. So federal loans will generally give you a better rate on repayment, and you'll need to complete a FAFSA to see what you're eligible for. The FAFSA application is going to open in December, and you'll have up until the start of the semester of next year to apply for federal loans. So they give you lots of time to get your bills covered. One thing to keep in mind if you are applying for loans, again, this is just for domestic students, but your parents or your guardians are not factored into your expected family contribution. And this is the calculator that the federal government uses to determine how much you will borrow and at what rate. So you might get more favorable rates, you know, if you're not making a lot of money right now, if you just came from undergrad. So just wanted to throw that out there. We do have an amazing team of financial aid advisors. We just hired a new financial aid and admissions coordinator. So we do have a team that you can meet with individually to set up kind of one-on-one calls with them to go over your individual situation. I do like to mention as well, the university does have payment plans. That's both for full-time and part-time students. And those are managed by Student Accounting Services. So wanted to just, that's all I have for financing your degree. But I wanted to throw that out there for any questions that you have.
There's a bunch in the chat, Angela.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I also did want to send, I had it queued up ready to go. We are offering, because you've joined the session tonight, we are offering an application fee waiver. And you can find out more information and actually get the form to fill out to get that application fee waiver on that link that I just sent in the chat. And I'm going to go to the questions and just take a look. Hi from Indonesia, welcome. So Charles, you're saying I applied for the TESOL licensure program. Can I be considered for the applied linguistics option since I have interest in pursuing the PhD TESOL? Kathy.
I could start.
Ahead,
Charles, thank you for the question. I think what you want to think about is what type of topics or research are you interested in? Are you interested in learning more about how students, young students in the K-12 settings, in the public school settings in the US, their learning processes, their experience as a multilingual learner? If you're interested in that topic, I think pursuing a TESOL degree in the multilingual language learner would be informative, but Jen, you could jump in and see if you're interested. The reason why I said that students in our program, they pursue PhD in TESOL is because a lot of the content that we cover and a lot of the readings that we provide is journal articles, and we train students to be able to learn and read the informations that are provided in journal articles. And the in basic stats, we do cover that a little bit, but mainly we really train students to be critical thinkers and be able to extract the gist from these articles and apply them to their learning settings. So, and we do provide research opportunities, but it does not necessarily, the students doesn't necessarily have to be in our programs to be provided with that research opportunity. And students in the in Dr. AG's program, they also take courses in our program. So second language acquisition or our 565, these courses are taken by students from different programs. So you will be provided with that knowledge set of being able to read the journal articles and also expand your knowledge in evidence-based teaching practices. But Jen, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would say, Charles, I mean, the reason that I said in the breakout session that the multilingual learner is probably not the best choice for a PhD is for a couple of reasons. One is that you're going to be spending most of your time in the classroom doing teaching. The focus of our program is less research-based than Dr. Kim's. It's just a different, I mean, we read journal articles and whatnot, but it's a different, we read them for a different purpose. It's a lot of applying strategies and learning more about pedagogical practices and classroom management. And while you can, study all of those things in a PhD, there's just less emphasis on research in general. So it's not that you can't, it's just probably, and the other issue or challenge in our program is that because you are spending so much time in the classroom teaching, it's harder to get research internships or graduate assistantships while you are here as a student in the master's program. So again, like if you're looking to get more experience while you're here at BU as a master's student in the field of research, chances are you'll have better luck or more opportunities in the applied linguistics, simply because you're going to be spending most of your spring semester in a school. So
Thank you.
That's
Thank
a
you.
really good question.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you both.
Angela, maybe talk about the logistics. Like if somebody has applied to the wrong program, like can you maybe walk them through what happens?
Definitely, yeah. If you've applied to the wrong program, or maybe you've applied to something and then you want to talk with a faculty member and you realize that, that's not the program for you, we can certainly in our office switch your application to another program to be considered for that program that you are interested or that the faculty think you would be a better fit for. All you'd have to do is just email us, and I can put email in the chat at legrad@bu.edu, and just let us know, hey, I actually do want to do the applied linguistics program rather than the multilingual learner licensure track. Can you switch my application? And we will do that. And Effa, that's a good question. You can certainly apply to the PhD program. And if you do not get into the PhD program, there is potential for you to be considered for the master's degree. So once you hear yes or no from the PhD committee, then we can certainly move your application after that to a different program. Again, just let us know that you'd like to be considered for a different program. Bina had a good question. Can you talk more about the personal statement and the equity and inclusion statement? I thought this would maybe be good to throw it out to you, Dr. Ag, and you, Dr. Kim. Like, what are you looking for when you read those essays? Because missions, we don't read those. We don't read any of your application materials. We're just helping you get all of your application materials together, and we send it on a nice little package to the faculty to read your application.
So I think from the TESOL Multilingual Learner Education Program, we're really looking for a couple of things. One is for people to explain how their prior experiences as educators or in another field or as students will help them to be successful in the classroom. So you don't have to have formal teaching experience in order to apply for the program, but we are looking for people to explain, all right, well, I was, I was in corporate finance, and here's sort of what ended up attracting me to being an ESL teacher, and here's how the knowledge I gained in my prior career will help me to connect with students in the classroom, whatever. So you need to tell some coherent story about how why you're a good fit for the program. And I think what Angela said earlier is also important. Why BU Relock? So we want you to explain, what is it about our program in particular that interests you, and why do you think you're a good fit for this particular program in school?
I think that's great, Jen. So for our program, it's very similar to Jen's, but at the end of the day, we really want to make sure that the students who we accept are happy, they're satisfied, they really reach the goals. And for us, it's really important to understand what your goals are. And that's why it's very important to know, why did you select BU Vlog and why is it our TESOL Applied Linguistics program? So if you could articulate that and really explain how your prior experience really built up to make that decision of applying to our program, we really looked into that information very closely. And because we really want to make sure that the students who we accept really are satisfied and they're getting what they need. So that's very important for us.
I think that was all the questions that we had in there. Ernestina asked about application fee waivers, and I did put that in the chat, the link to that, Ernestina, so I hope you saw that. We're at time now, but I just wanted to pause for a second and see if there's any more final questions that we have from folks. Ernestina, do you have another question? Or are you just saying yes? You're acknowledging that the link. If there aren't any more questions, I just want to say thank you so much to the faculty for doing the session tonight. Thank you all for joining us all around the world. Everybody, go get some sleep.
So much for joining us. Thank you, Angela, for holding this
Thank
session
you.
today.
Thank
And
you.
please email us at any time at wegrad@bu.edu. I did put that in the chat as well. Let us know. We look forward to seeing your applications, everybody.
Yeah, have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.